Hello and welcome to CIS 4510. In this session we will address project quality management for information technology products and services. We will learn how to plan for quality within a project. We will also learn about the tools, techniques, and methods used in controlling project quality. Although some people might joke about it, but quality is very important in many IT projects. Let's look at the following cases to understand the importance of project quality management in the project. In 1986, 2 hospital patients died after receiving fatal doses of radiation from the Therac 25 machine after a software problem caused the machine to ignore calibration data. So that software problem was caused because the project was not done correctly. The Britain Coast Guard was unable to use its computers for several hours in May 2004 after being hit by Ch7 virus, which knocked out the electronic mapping system, email, and other computer functions, forcing workers to revert to pen, paper, and radios. That's another problem with not taking care of security for as a project for that organization. More than 100 incidents of lost or stolen financial information were reported over the past year, including personal information of 1.2 federal employees, 200,000 online trading customers, and 33,000 Air Force officers. And again, you can see those problems again and again in the news. All these because the project was not implemented with the proper quality. A project that will follow the guidelines, follow the quality requirements, should not fail or should not cause problem. So what's project quality? Based on the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, project quality is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills requirements. You can see also other definitions of like conformance to requirements. The project's processes and products should meet the written specifications, and also you can see fitness for use, which is product can be used as it was intended. The project quality management ensures that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. Processes for quality management should include the quality planning, which is identifying which quality standards are relevant to the project and how to satisfy them. Not every project the same, so we have to look at what are the standards that is related to my project, and based on that plan for quality for that one. Quality assurance, that's periodically evaluating overall project performance to ensure the project will satisfy the relevant quality standards. That's the evaluation process for our project or project management. And we have the quality control, that is monitoring specific project results to ensure that that they comply with the relevant quality standards. So all these are kind of processes or aspects of quality management within a project. This slide shows a summary of the outputs of each process. In the next few slides, we will address each one of them separately. We will look at those separately. But you can see that we have some in the planning, some in the execution, and some in the monitoring and controlling processes. So quality planning implies the ability to anticipate situations and prepare actions to bring about the desired outcome. We need to know exactly what's happening, and with Of course, experience is one thing, but also with the data that will be collected from other projects, historical data and analysis, and other tools, you will be able to prepare for those outcomes. It's important to prevent any defects by selecting the proper material that we need to use in the project, training people in quality, and knowing exactly what to do when a certain situation comes. And the planning is the process that ensures the appropriate outcome or result from that activity. So we need to implement all that to make sure that we have the proper planning when a situation comes up. One of the common techniques in quality planning is design of experiments, which help project managers identify the variables that will have the most influence on the overall outcome of a process. We need to look at the different factors that will be affecting the project or the product that we are dealing with. We can also use this technique in other project management issues, such as the cost. We can analyze the cost to look at the factors that will be affecting the cost. We can also look at the factors that will be affecting the schedule and look at trade-offs. How can I make trade-offs between the cost, the schedule, and the quality? With increasing quality, you increase the cost, and in some cases you need to keep it within certain range. So how can you make it high quality at the same time control the cost? This is the trade-off. It actually involves documenting important factors that directly contribute to meeting customer requirements, and that's how you start knowing the factors, you start analyzing and knowing which one is the most. So if you have like 12 factors, maybe not all 12 factors will be involved in the involvement in the requirements. So what you do, you eliminate and take the most important factors and concentrate on those. IT project quality will make sure of the project scope aspects such as the functionality, which is making sure that the system, product, service which will result from the project will perform as intended. Also, we need to look at the features. The quality tools will check if the results will be appealing to the user. Is it working? Does it have the features that the customer needs or the user needs? That we need to look at the system outputs, which is the quality that will make sure of the reports and deliverables that will be coming out of that system as an output. The quality will look also at the performance, which will make sure that the product or service performs as the customer intended to use it for. Reliability. The quality of the project will make sure that the product or service to perform as expected under normal condition within period of time. So its reliability basically is the probability of a success of something functioning with respect to time. Maintainability is the quality the probability of being able to restore that product to its normal operational or functional status. So the quality will make sure that to address the ease of performing maintenance on a product and repairing it to bring it back to its functionality. Project managers are ultimately responsible for quality management on their projects. Several organizations and references can help project managers and their teams understand quality. Some of the terms and concepts that will be used by project managers are quality assurance, like we said, I mentioned that before, but this is one of the also terms that you will be using a lot, which includes all the activities related to satisfying the relevant quality standards for project. Another goal of quality assurance is is continuous quality improvement, to make sure that we have a process in place to check and evaluate the activities to make sure that they are up to date, adhere to standards, and follow the requirements. Benchmarking is another term that you will hear, which generates ideas for quality improvement by comparing specific project practices or product characteristics to those of other projects or products within or outside the performing organization. A quality audit is a structured review of specific quality management activities that help identify lessons learned that could improve performance on current or future projects. There are several tools that can be used to control project quality with the goal of gaining acceptance of the customer. If any process needs adjustment, the tools will assist in correction and adjustment through a well-designed rework process. In the next few slides, we will go over some of the quality tools that will assist in quality control. The first one, cause and effect diagram, or sometimes they call it the fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. It traces complaints about quality problems back to the responsible production operations. They help you find the root cause of the problem. Sometimes you can see a problem, it's obvious, but the cause of that problem is not obvious. It's behind the scenes. So you have to use the cause and effect diagram to get to the root cause of the problem. If you have a seal that's broken, you cannot just replace the seal. You need to know why that seal broke. Is it because of overheating? Is it because of other situation, maybe vibration or force or tension or other reasons or causes that cause the main problem? We can also use the 5 whys technique to get to the root cause of the problem, and that's by repeating the question, why did that happen? Why did the seal rip? We can say that because of the heat. Why there was a heat to begin with? Why did the heat generate? Because there was a problem with the coolant. Why there is a problem with the coolant? And so on, until we get to the root cause of the problem and fix that cause. Sometimes the root cause of the problem will be because we brought the part from this supplier and this supplier is not reliable, so we need to change the supplier. We need to bring the same part but from a different supplier. This slide shows the fishbone or cause and effect diagram, and as you can see, we have something related to the hardware, something related to people, something related to training, and something related to software. So we can gather all that and say, okay, is it a hardware problem? Is it a user problem? Is it a training problem? Or is it a software? And based on that, we can gather all the information and see why users cannot get into the system. Control chart is another tool, which is a graphical display of data that illustrates the results of a process over time. The main use of the control chart is to prevent defects rather than to detect or reject them. So the idea is to prevent them from happening. So we need to look at the control chart ahead of time. The quality control charts allow you to determine whether a process is in control or out of control. When a process is in control, any variations in the results of the process are created by random events. Processes that are in control don't need to be adjusted. When a process is out of control, variation in results of the process are caused by non-random events. It will follow certain patterns, so I need to check that pattern, know exactly what's going on. So we need to identify the cause of those non-random events and adjust the process or correct as needed. Could be eliminated, could be minimized. You can use quality control charts and the 7-run rule to look for patterns in data. What's the 7-run rule? It says that if you have 7 data points in a row that are below the mean or out of the norm for the mean, then they are all either increasing or decreasing, then the process needs to be examined for non-random problems. This slide shows a sample control chart with 7 points below the mean, which might indicate the need for examination and attention for what is happening during the project execution. And you can see that the out of norm has been indicated here by a star. The run chart is another tool that displays the history and pattern of variation of process over time. It's basically a line chart that shows data points plotted in the order in which they occur. It can be used to perform trend analysis to forecast future outcomes based on historical patterns. The next slide will show a sample of the run chart. From the run chart, we can see the variation between the 3 lines, and we can study the patterns and forecast the future. Another tool is the scatter diagram, which helps to show if there is a relation between 2 variables. The closer data points are to a diagonal line, the more closely the 2 variables are related. And this is what we call like correlation. So if they have correlation with each other, whether it's positive correlation or negative correlation, then the scatter diagram can show me that in that diagram. It can show me the relation. If there is no relation between the 2 variables, then you will see the data scattered everywhere. This is an example of a scatter diagram, and as you can see here, if we can link those dots together, we can get almost a line here, which means that we have correlation. Now the correlation is decreasing, then this is a negative correlation, and that is an example of correlation between the age of respondent and their satisfaction rate. So you can see that the user satisfaction rating will be in negative correlation with age of respondent. The histogram is a bar graph. That's another tool that will show me the distribution of variables. Each bar represents an attribute or characteristic of a problem or situation, and the height of the bar represents its frequency. This is an example of a histogram that shows the number of customers' complaints over 6 weeks period, and you can see the complaints per week. So over the time, you can see that if the complaints are getting less or getting more, and if they are getting more, then why are they getting more? This is something that has to be addressed. So those are some of the tools that will assist me in finding that. Another tool is the PARETO chart, where the PARETO chart is a histogram that can help identify and prioritize problem areas. For the PARETO analysis, which is also called the 80-20, meaning that 80% of the problems are often due to 20% of the causes. Just small amount of causes can cause a lot of problems. So we need to target those 20 causes and start eliminating them to make sure that we don't have those huge problems, the 80% that we're talking about. This is an example of the number of complaints that was high due to login problem. So basically we can target why they were not able to log in and fix that problem, because most of the complaints are coming from the login and system locks up. So we can prioritize working on that area and reduce complaints issues just by targeting those two areas, the login problem and the system locks up for them. The last tool in this session is flowchart, and flowcharts are graphic displays of the logic and flow of the process that help you analyze how problems occur and how processes can be improved, so you know step by step on how the process is going. If there is a process in place or a decision need to be made, then you will know using the flowchart. The flowchart basically is diagram of or display of activities, decision points, and the order of how information is being processed, which one comes first. So basically we are going with a sequence of activities that will be executed within a product or a service. So that will be all for this session. If you have any questions, you can email me, you can call, you can Skype, or you can come in person. Thank you and have a great day.